Woo! 3 OBS settings or setups in 3 weeks. Let's try this again. Yes, the 1980s. When your biggest fear was getting caught behind the gym with a cigarette and every adult just quietly stopped paying attention. And then Hollywood made a movie about it. We all agreed to treat it like a documentary. Welcome to Weaponized Nostalgia. Today we're revisiting Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The movie that taught an entire generation that high school is confusing, adults are useless, and somehow the stoner is the most emotionally stable person in the room. Good news, nothing's changed. This movie captures the 1980s the way a Polaroid captures reality. Blurry, overexposed, and emotionally aggressive, and you kind of have to shake it a little bit to get the best results. These aren't characters, they're archetypes. Hormones, peer pressure, jobs that pay less than therapy. The mall was the center of the universe. You didn't go there to hang out, you went there to exist. Kids today have social media. We had food courts and the illusion of independence. Same anxiety, worse lighting, probably some neon thrown in there. And then there's Spicoli, played by Sean Penn, a character who should be a warning label and yet somehow isn't. Why is he more honest than the teachers? Why is he more self-aware than the parents? This man lives on pizza, aura, the next wave, and vibes, and still understands life better than most adults I know, and seems a hell of a lot more grounded. I don't like that. I respect it. I resent that I respect it. The rest of Ridgemont High is pure adolescent chaos. Awkward sex, bad decisions, jobs that exist only to drain your soul early and prepare you for your future of soul-crushing, lifelong employment and wage slavery. This isn't exaggerated. This is exactly how it felt, only with a soundtrack telling you it mattered, or how cool it all was. We need to talk about Phoebe Cates. That scene didn't just become iconic, it became mythology. I mean, before we even knew what a meme was. It rewired teenage brains, destroyed pause buttons, made them beg for sweet, sweet mercy. Stripped several sections of VHS tapes and taught a generation that slow motion equals meaning. But here's the uncomfortable truth. She isn't the fantasy. She's the causality of it. Stacey Hamilton isn't empowered. She's inexperienced, she's under pressure, and the culture looked at that and said, cool, but what if we just remember the swimsuit? That's not nostalgia. That's selective memory. Congratulations, you didn't have a crush on Phoebe Cates. You had a crush on slow motion and poor judgment. We'll come back to that. Don't like it? Feel free. Scroll, rage, compose a haiku about my hot takes, write an epic novel, maybe a screenplay. You're clearly emotionally invested. This channel isn't here to argue with your YouTube heroics. We're here to understand why we felt the way we felt, why we fell for it, how that shaped us as Generation X, and why this movie gaslit us while convincing us small food courts were life-changing experiences. If that bothers you, stretch first, hydrate, and just relax. Be all Spicoli about it. I don't care. Even if you don't like my analysis, the algorithm will survive. Probably. This is where nostalgia gets dangerous, because this movie doesn't just remind you, it edits your memory. It was gaslighting us the whole time. From inside the house, before we even had a word for it, telling us how great things were, how free it all felt, how fun the chaos was. And that's how we remember it, not as it was, but as it sold itself to us. Confusion becomes freedom, freedom becomes adventure, vulnerability becomes character building. That's not memory, that's marketing. This movie didn't just define teen films, it created the template. Every stoner comedy, coming-of-age story, every awkward confession scene owes this film money. And somehow, it still understands adolescence better than most modern movies. That's pretty impressive, considering the time differences. And deeply annoying. This is why it still works. We remember Spicoli as wisdom, the mall as freedom, the pool scene as fantasy. What we actually watched was a teenager under pressure in a culture that didn't notice. Same tape, different playback speeds, different results. It's messy, it's uncomfortable in ways we didn't have language for yet. It shows teenagers navigating sex, pressure, and power dynamics with almost no adult guidance. And it doesn't hold your hand while it does it. It's funny, occasionally irresponsible, but it's honest in ways we weren't ready to see then, and maybe still aren't now. It doesn't glamorize the awkwardness. It doesn't celebrate the imbalance. It just shows it. Flat, observational, unfiltered. And that honesty is part of why it hit. It was a shaping moment within our generation. It set a tone, not just for teen movies, but for how we understood growing up. So yes, watch it, laugh, cringe, but reconsider what you remember and why you remember it that way. Because this movie didn't reflect your youth, it rewrote it with a smile and a soundtrack. It taught us that confusion was freedom, that neglect was independence, that no one showing up for you wasn't a failure of adults, it was character development. Then it sold that neglect back to us as the good old days. This movie has been quietly gaslighting Generation X for decades, and we lined up on VHS to let it happen. Then we bought the DVD because nostalgia. Then the digital version, then the remaster, then the anniversary edition, then whatever comes next. Because once your memories are for sale, Hollywood never stops charging rent. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and click notifications to feed that pesky algorithm. It doesn't care about you, it's not there for you, but it will punish us if you don't comply. We remember it, so you don't have to. Because somebody's already edited it for you.